Although we are active Church of Satan members, we do not speak their behalf. The following contains language in adult manner and poorly impersonated celebrity voices. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is Nathan Gray, and listen to The Devil You Know. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing.
There you go.
I can't think anything like punchy and awesome to say at the end of that. It's just like, hey, you're listening to this shit. Fucking keep listening to it.
And we're back to recording with episode 19.
19. That equals 19.
John Shaw, the people, they've been hurting for something.
They
the
have.
Listeners, they've been wanting something.
They have, and we have him with us right now, Mr. Christopher Walken. How's it going, Chris?
It's going good since my studies have been more clear.
Awesome.
How you been? You've been busy, huh? You've been a busy guy lately, right?
Yeah, I started doing Kia commercials, which is wild. It's not Chinese, the Japanese, but you must look at these. They're Korean cars.
Kia, who makes that? That's
I don't know, it's Asian. It's great.
okay.
They make the best stuff. Like TVs.
Kia
Like
makes TVs.
Sanyos or something?
Oh.
Like Casio.
Casio.
Great. Casio
Alright,
watches.
So life with Kia is pretty good for you then?
They pay you
It's
well?
good. It's good. I get a free Kia. It comes in a box. You have to put it together. They give you a wrench.
One wrench?
Korean wrench.
One wrench
I
to...
think they stole it from IKEA. It's weird. They're very similar companies.
IKEA.
That's funny. So I heard you are voiceovering for an animated film coming out pretty soon called The Jungle Book.
It's not so much animated, it's live animation. So it's CG, but it's more real than cartoon. It's not Kung Fu Panda, it's more aliens, more Avatar.
Ah, okay. And thank you for that.
It's good. I'm playing King Louis. I've been watching tons of Donald Trump to get in the character. It's good.
King Louis the orangutan, of course.
I don't want to give any spoilers. They're both orange. It's weird. I think he eats carrots.
Too much carrot juice.
Yeah, turning him orange. Kind of like the girl from the Partridge Family. She ate tons of carrots. Forget her name, but she started being orange. It's weird.
That's how they made Malupas. They eat carrots.
Yeah, but somehow the growth was stunted, so maybe carrots stunt your growth. Weird. Like cigarettes. They come in a pack of 20.
Well, what do you think of this political race? You know, I mean, you got Donald Trump, who somehow is doing well. You got Jeb Bush that just dropped out. You got
Reynolds the third. Yes, he dropped out.
yeah, you know, I mean, it's there's some crazy people. I mean, it's a shit sandwich no matter which way you go.
Well, it's weird for Trump. He says what he wants. It's nonsense, and the people love it. I think they're tired of the status quo. I mean, Ted Cruz looks like a ferret face. Rubio, he's too young. He's not even American. He's Cuban. It's weird. So is Ted Cruz.
Well, yeah, Cruz
He's also
is
Canadian. He's Canadian. We all know about those Canadians.
Tell us, eh?
Yeah, he's Canadian. You can't trust people that like poutine. Have you heard of it?
No, what's that?
It's French fries with beef gravy and cheese curds. You can't take someone serious that eats that kind of culinary delight. It's
That
weird.
sounds kind of good, actually. I gotta say.
It's gross. It's terrible. You think it sounds great, but you eat it and you're like, what the fuck? This is terrible. You spit it
Yeah,
out.
He spit it out.
Just a little indulgence, I think, might be good. I don't know.
Maybe my palate's ruined by pineapple, but I can't have it.
It tears up the roof of your mouth. Huh?
It's weird. It's sometimes my mouth likes it, but my stomach can make up its mind.
Speaking of stomachs, what do you think of Hillary Clinton?
She's a very angry little man.
That's true.
She's weird. She talks, but she's a liar. And everything she says is a lie.
Maybe she needs an intern.
Like Monica Lewinsky. Weird.
She needs Manica Lewinsky.
You know, it's weird. You're the president.
Oh, man.
I think you're supposed to get your dick sucked. I think it's part of the rules of getting
Well,
in.
it ought to be, for fuck's sake, man. It should be.
If you're the president of the free world, I think blowjobs should be in your contract. They're in mine.
That makes sense.
So
Every movie I
wait.
do, the producer has to blow me.
I would think that Kia would have provided you with a carload of girls.
They do. I have yellow fever now. I'm getting it treated. I have to take a big pill. It's weird. It's large. But it's a suppository, so I'm used to it. I've been trying to call Adam to get his mom's number, but he won't return my calls.
Ouch. He's not returning anyone's calls lately.
Yeah.
No, it's very rude. Especially since, I know his mom really well.
Oh, that's not good. You're going to rouse the fire worm.
Mr. Campbell's MIA. I'm trying to get over this yellow fever. I figured his mom could help me, but no.
Ouch.
And maybe you need some jungle fever.
Yeah.
I did date Grace Jones. She's weird. God forbid you don't make her come. She'll snap off your cock. Rats.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
She's intense in a lot of ways. I mean, Arnold wouldn't fuck her, and he fucks everyone, from what I hear.
All right, well, speaking of fucking, let's get this show rolling. What do you say, guys?
Sounds great.
All right.
The Law of Gyps.
Law number 6. I never strive or settle for being used or useless. I always strive to be useful. Being useful is a win-win situation for both sides of each interaction. Whether it's for business, whether it's for relationships, intrapersonal or interpersonal, or whether it's for any other interaction that can better or further my own well-being. I always strive to be useful. Useful for myself, as with the other parties. Anything less is a foolish compromise on my end. I seek not to exploit myself to put myself in a lesser position. The only time I take the lower role, or play the third fiddle, or play the extra character, is when I know I will walk away with benefit for myself. Where I leave happy, the other party's happy, and I face very little chance of having my integrity tarnished or tattered and torn in the end. Draw a line in the sand when your own reputation is being sabotaged by someone who wants to exploit you for their own personal gain without giving you anything or allowing you to walk away empty-handed. Always walk away with something, even if the half loaf is better than none. Then, either way, you come out a winner. Hail Satan!
All right, John. So for this interview, somebody important this week.
Oh, perfect timing because we have Reverend of the Church of Satan, Robert Merciless.
Hello, sir.
How's it going?
Good. How you guys doing?
Very good. Very good.
All right.
Yeah.
How's things there?
Good.
So you're a busy guy, of course. You've always got your hands full, not only with helping us with our different events, of course, but you've got your own thing. Got Rabid Crow going. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I've got a long-standing interest in history, especially the history of Satanism, and I've done quite a bit of historical research. It's a lot of it's published on the Church of Satan website. Kind of a large article on the Italian poet Giacomo Carducci, and I've had several articles published over time, and that interest in the historical background of Satanism kind of led me to an interest in some of the historical imagery, graphics, depictions of Satan and satanic themes from the past, because they sort of are a visual representation of this image, this archetype, this mythological character from history of Satan, and then as a representative for a certain collection of values.
Right.
And these are values of independence and rebellion and indulgence and pleasure, rebellion against the restrictions of the church, of the princes, the state, and to eventually even, rejection of the restrictions placed upon our freedoms by the mass morality of just common humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And so that led me to an interest in a number of things, like I guess one of the first pieces that I really was drawn to was the drawing of the Baphomet by Eliphas Levi from 1854. It's the engraving that people see in just about every occult bookstore or documentary, etc. It's the seated goat with wings and a
Salve
pentagram
coagula
on his forehead,
Yeah.
and a flaming
torch
between his horns. And so for 150 years, that image was one of the ones that sort of grabbed the imagination of not only the occultists that it was drawn for by Levy, but also of the Christians who saw it as a depiction of Satan.
Yeah.
And of course, Levy meant it as a depiction of the magical absolute. Even so, it has a point-up pentagram, and it's full of, French occult revival symbology. And so I took it and got a high-resolution scan literally out of the original book from the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Oh, cool.
So literally the highest quality image you could get of it, and then proceeded to digitally modify the image top to bottom, and replace the upward pointing pentagram with a downward pointing one. Changed the arms to giving the cornu with his left hand, and just a series of modifications that makes the image just overtly satanic, not merely hinting at it, but using imagery that, while may have been scandalous in 1854 really is virtually meaningless in the 21st century. And so so that recrafting of Elvis Levy's Baphomet drawing was my first sort of doodle. I'm not much of an artist. I'm kind of a rip-off artist, if anything. And that was for posters and T-shirts and stuff like that. And so from then on, I moved to other images from William Blake or Gustave Doré, who illustrated Paradise Lost and so on. So that's how it got started. And then that took me to just a whole range of other images. And so now the portfolio that I have is, I don't know, 3, 6, 9 pieces, 9 different images, I guess, something like that, that I sell on T-shirts, posters, coffee mugs, etc. And that I sell through rabidcrow.com. It's Rabid Crow Arts and Graphics, but it's the home webpage is rabidcrow.com, and I use a platform on Spreadshirt for T-shirts and on Zazzle.com for everything from posters to other stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of the art that you've recreated, one of the most famous ones you've done was the Oswald Wirth. You've painstakingly recreated that drawing from the crude one, that the original one. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was from 1897, and in the late 1800s in France, there was this battle among competing occultists who were basically engaged in trying to destroy each other by accusing each other of Satanism. And so they went back and forth. It was like, you're the Satanist. No, you're the Satanist. No, you're the bigger Satanist. You're the biggest Satanist ever.
Nowadays, it's like, no, I'm the biggest Satanist. No, I'm the biggest Satanist.
Yeah, so, but these were white light magicians,
right.
Ceremonial magicians seeking to sort of establish themselves as the right hand path magical authority, and so to the point of like writing entire books about how the other guy is the black magician. And so one of these was written by a guy named Stanislas de Gaida, called La Clef de la Magie Noire, the key of black magic. And so he purported to, be an expert on what those people do. And he had I'll say an understudy in his employ. Stanislas de Gaeta was a fairly wealthy noble. Right. So he had this guy that worked for him named Oswald Wirth, who, among other talents, was also a crackerjack illustrator. And so this was the first time anybody had really presented the image of the goat head inside of a pentagram. And Wirth did a pretty bang-up job of this image. And that image, again, it was meant to be a indictment of how evil Satanists were, but that image created an enormous amount of resonance with people on the path.
Excellent.
So
when you see that image out there being used by people, do you take pride in that, or are you pretty pissed that they haven't asked for your permission to use your image, or how's that?
Well, I mean, just to be clear, there's exactly one producer who has the permission to use the image, and that for the production of anything, and that's I Satanist for producing a really sort of breathtaking medallion based on it. It's pretty fabulous.
Awesome.
So I think that was really, it was good working with you, John, on that, because it takes what, for me has, and really for history, has only existed as a two-dimensional print, from first in a book, and then, with me on, the occasional coffee mug or T-shirt, and then you were able to take it and turn it into this sort of, three-dimensional art object, and it's just phenomenal. So,
awesome.
I feel just really great that, I feel like I dug it out of the, I dug it out of the history books, but you conjured it into reality. So I feel like it worked out. It was a really great.
Hey, I couldn't have done it without you.
Great collaboration. Still a ton of them. Like I said, I always thought that Worth's drawing had a profound, a magical resonance to it. I mean, it's old. It's older than the sigil of Baphomet that we use officially in the Church of Satan. It's just a heavier, older look. Some people like it, some people don't. But I always thought it was.
I think it's very striking. I think it's very diabolical.
Yep.
And it works on precious metal.
It works good with pen and ink. It worked good with in raw steel.
So when you do see it with other people that don't have permission, does that, strike up any emotions?
I don't see it with other people who don't have permission, and I wouldn't waste my time looking at any other sites other than iSatanist, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's an amazing answer. That's awesome.
I have banished from existence any thieves and pretenders, and I recommend that others do exactly the same.
Yeah, no doubt.
Awesome. Very cool. So how old were you when you found when you happened upon Satanism?
Oh God, I don't know. Probably I was probably 30, into my 30s or so. I'd been a pretty happy atheist and occasional, glancer at Buddhism and Hinduism and other religions, almost as a matter of just passing interest, and finding each one to be kind of distasteful for its repression of the individual. And I thought, I rapidly threw them all into the same box, and really it was just internet browsing that I had known that the Church of Satan existed, but that was sort of the extent of it. And I was probably 30 years old before I bothered to invest time into looking into it. And then it was one of those extraordinary moments of reading the book and thinking to myself, having already waded through, the Dhammapada and the other religious texts, and then to read the Satanic Bible and just sort of be kind of stunned by it, to the point of, cooking through the whole book and thinking to myself, this must be a mistake. Surely it could not possibly have made that much sense. And immediately flipping back to page 1 and reading the entire thing a second time without break.
Right.
And so that was. I was not the kid that stole it from the bookstore at 16, or was raised by a band of gypsy witches. I was already well into a professional career in life.
We don't hear that very often. Everyone's usually in their teens and they run into it. But 30's up there. What are you now? Like 33, right?
yeah, something like that. So,
I mean, you look. I saw you in the Satanic Warlock calendar by Den Ardennes, and you look like you're 33. Jesus.
yeah, well, shortly after that, I became a vampire, and so I haven't aged at all since then. So,
All right. Well, remember to bite me in New York, all right?
so yeah, so that's sort of like, I don't know to the degree anybody cares, but that was my path, and yeah.
How about your parents? Were they pretty religious growing up?
No, kind of not particularly. I grew up. My father's family was Catholic, and he was if not the worst Catholic ever. He was in the running for that distinction. My mom had been raised Southern Baptist, and she was a bit religious, and my parents were divorced when I was about 9, and so after that my mom kind of got interested again in going to church and took me with her, and I did that for a bit, and at a fairly young age just couldn't stomach it anymore, and just told her, I said, I can't do that. It's just not me.
Right.
And so my exposure to Catholicism didn't come so much from my father as that growing up in Texas, the schools in my town were just so shitty that he had been educated in parochial schools, and so he enrolled me in the private Catholic schools. But they knew I was not Catholic. I was never baptized a Catholic, and so I was always the outside kid already at the Catholic school.
Yeah.
But I did learn a lot about
Sex?
Catholicism,
sorry.
and it was mandatory to attend the mass. We all had to go to mass, and so I was the non-Catholic kid that dutifully kind of walked to mass. And I have to say that I thought the Catholic churches and the mass and all of that was kind of nifty to watch, right? I mean, it was the churches in Texas were kind of old, dark, Gothic kind of Catholic churches. I mean, blinding 100-degree white hot temperatures outside, and you walk into the Catholic church, it's just dark and illuminated only by pale candle light and spooky weird shit.
Yeah.
Stained glass windows and blood,
Gothic
guys getting hammered to the cross, and blood and nails and shit. It was like the Baptists had none of that stuff, man. This was the good shit. And so I have to say, the Catholics, they do know a thing or two about the psychological impact of ritual and imagery,
aesthetics and things.
And so how to psychologically freak yourself out with weird shit, and so I actually place a good value on that, on what I learned in that venue.
So in the the Catholic school, tell us about the girls, because they're pretty wild, right? I mean, they were where I was growing up.
Let me think here.
They were down to do anything.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a I don't know. It was middle school and freshman year of high school, and I was not a big dater at that time. I went to a non-Catholic school for a while, where I had my first sort of school girlfriend, and we managed to keep that on the down low. So yeah, the Catholic girls and I later in high school I actually did end up dating a Catholic girl, and no, she was not adequate. She was insufficiently wild, so she was later replaced by a witchy girl, subsequently replaced by a suitably wild Jewish girl that I kept. So yeah,
Kept. That's funny.
We're learning a thing or two here.
yeah.
You gotta keep her.
Don't believe the rumors.
So
That's awesome.
but yeah, that's sort of my background. If anybody, like I said, if anybody really cares about it,
Yeah.
We have like 4 listeners. It's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's all part of explaining where different Satanists come from. But of course, we're interested in what you do. And well, this last year, we were all very happy to get our copy of the hardcover of the Satanic Bible and Satanic Rituals. Can you tell us what brought that on?
let's see here. How did that get started? Well, last year, the Church of Satan crossed over an important historical boundary. By last year was year 50, and that was the last year of our first half century. And so that year 50, Anno Satanas, that is, from year 1 being the year that the church was established, and then moving forward. Right. And so for that, I was kind of thinking about something to do under Rabid Crow Arts and Graphics along those lines, and Central Grotto sort of liked the idea that I pitched them of putting together a gathering of members to mark the historic nature of year 50. And so from that, knowing that we were going to be holding the gathering, I thought one of the things that was worth pursuing was trying to get a hardcover version of the Satanic Bible published again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had some contacts in the publishing world, and exploited those a bit, and went to the publisher and entered into a series of negotiations. And initially they were not interested in doing that, and I sort of bumped it up a notch, and eventually was able to persuade them to print exclusively for me a combined hardcover edition of both the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals.
Wow.
And so, which required a fairly significant amount of cash outlay up front for even the minimal number, because there's a certain minimum they will not even start the presses for, right? And so I had to partner. One of my first sort of places I turned to was Reverend now Magister Kevin Slaughter, who runs Underworld Amusements and is a publisher of alternative books and knows the alternative book market pretty well. In fact, he published a book called The Sorceries and Scandals of Satan, to which I wrote the foreword. It was a kind of a historical for I don't know, 20 pages worth of the book. And so I had an established track record with Underworld Amusements as a publisher, and I went to Kevin and I asked him, do you think this thing is sellable? And what's the size of the market? And he said he thought so, but couldn't really tell for sure. So I took a huge risk and went ahead and entered into a contract with HarperCollins to publish this thing, and so they did. And the good news is that demand has about equaled supply. And Underworld Amusements was very helpful in helping me to sell some of the books. I Satanist, again, John, you came through for me in a big way. Agreed to sort of help sell some copies through I Satanist.
Yep.
And the Central Grotto was very helpful in putting the word out. And at this point, the bulk of the print run has been sold, and so there's only a handful, I will say, numbered in the dozens, still unsold.
Oh boy!
The price of them has gone from the original price of $50 a copy to $100 a copy. And that's just the ones that I'm selling because there's so few of them left.
Yeah.
In the secondary market, they're already selling for $150.
Yeah.
So I've told everybody who ordered one to hold on to them. If you're smart, order two.
Definitely.
And a lot of people did because I think they're gonna, the original hardcovers from the '70s. Those damn things are $1,000 a piece.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So it's just crazy. And
I told you about the copy I have that was printed completely upside down.
I think you have the only one on the planet.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
We run the entire operation out of the dungeon of the Castle Merciless here, where I live, and we check every copy leaving. The reason you got that one is I sent you an entire box that I had never cracked open.
Ah.
So when you opened that case,
I got the golden ticket.
You got the golden ticket because
I'm going to Willy Wonka's.
It had not been seen. I came across one other. There's a handful of books that were in the run that were botched up in some way.
Oh, okay.
I had one that had the back glue had gotten onto the pages and it was all glued up and unusable. I had one that was cut wrong, and so that was unsellable. So a handful like that. One, there was probably four of them that had, I don't know, black smudges on them. Looks like the machine somehow or other botched the book up when they were doing the print run. So there was a handful that were kind of botched up like that, but I never saw another one. And in fact, I got to say, John, when you told me that, I thought you must have been like put your glasses on upside down, or you had a terrible case of what is it when you read things up backwards?
It's called the Mondays. Yeah.
Yeah.
I opened up the book.
I didn't believe you until I saw the videos.
Right. I opened up the book and I saw that it was upside down. I'm like, oh wow, the dust jacket must be reversed. So I took it off, but then I noticed that it was upside down. I mean, it was right side up. So, but the words were still upside down. I'm like looking at it. I had to look 2 or 3 times, make sure. Wait a minute, this is really printed upside down completely, and that's awesome.
Yes, as far as I know that, and I at this point I've looked and touched almost every one of them. There's, like I said, just a few dozen that I haven't.
So that'll probably be worth $102 one day, huh?
I don't know. That that was like that stamp, with the airplane printed upside down. Those like extremely valuable. So I don't know. Like I said, I think it's the only one on the planet.
Wow.
And probably going to be the only one that will be on the planet because I don't.
No more
after
prints,
this print run is finished and sold, I honestly don't think there will be another one.
Right.
Wow.
I don't think I'll ever get rid of it though. I'm the type to do that.
And that's a message to all you listeners out there who don't have a copy. You better get one because you're going to see them again.
So. Yeah, so
price already went up. Yep.
They're rare and getting rarer.
Yeah.
By the moment.
Excellent.
So. Very awesome. But I don't know if anyone said it, but thank you for doing that because.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you provided me with the only one that's printed upside down.
Yeah, well, even that whole weekend in DC. I mean, not only the book, but also just the weekend and all the work that you put into those things was just so great.
It was such a great time. I mean, there's not one part of it that was not a good time. It really was a good time,
Well, it served a purpose, the gathering of members to mark the half-century existence of the church is an important historical event. And we did one last year to mark the year 50. That was almost a bit of an academic conference. Members came from all over the world. They met in Washington, D.C., and we talked about various aspects of the religion, where it was, how it shaped people's personal lives, how it shaped the broader society in art and philosophy,
movies,
those kinds of things. Music. And so now here we are, almost a year later, and we're poised upon the next celebration, which will be the actual 50th anniversary. The Church of Satan was founded by Anton LaVey on April 30th, 1966, Walpurgisnacht, by witch tradition. And so precisely 50 years later, from 1966 to 2016, this Walpurgisnacht will be the official 50th anniversary. And so we are not announcing the location. That, of course, is privileged for Church of Satan members only. But it's at a location in the eastern half of the United States, and again, members of the Church of Satan will gather. This will be a much more of a elegant gala celebration. With sumptuous food and free-flowing booze and weird, fun music, and a party suitable for a half-century institution. And so members of the Church of Satan who might be hearing this are encouraged to participate if they're so inclined. It is not free. It is rather expensive. So it's really for those members who have attained some level of material success. If they're interested in attending, they can get details from Central Grotto upon the confirmation of their membership status. If they're not interested, they can do their own celebration in their own lair, in their own ritual chamber, as they wish, which a lot of members all over the world will be doing.
Of course.
But that's an opportunity that's available. It's probably one of those things, is one of those experiences that is quite literally once in a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
not going to miss it.
after this, there will probably not be another one for quite a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the way we roll.
Yeah. No, this is going to be one not to miss, definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, I know we asked this of every one of our guests, and we have to ask you, what does Satan mean to you?
Satan means that we are reminded of our true natures. I guess I see Satan in two important ways. First is as this. We overuse the term archetype, but I use it in the true sense meant by Jung. Is that it's a collective shared symbol, and over the past 1,000 years, it's a symbol that's come to be so repeated in our culture, particularly Western culture, it's attained a certain psychological power, and that power is the symbology that Satan brings to us, and so that symbol lives both in our conscious and our unconscious, and it reminds us to rebel against external strictures upon our happiness, to not compromise our individual empowerment, and to not subordinate it to the control and certainly not the lies of others. So I think that's an important element for me, that I see it as a psychological, symbolic reminder of how to live life and to get the most out of it. Probably first and foremost. I mean, I also take a bit of a pantheistic, look at the universe. I think I'm attracted to LaVey sort of discussion of, the Satanist as being open to embracing sort of the majesty of the universe. We're not strictly rationalists who see the entire universe as a simple, mechanistic machine. We are open to, through the practice of ritual, to touch on it at an emotional level, sort of the magic of the universe, the wonder of it. And so I see Satan also as synonymous with just the powers of nature. Satan is a symbol for humans and how to live our life, but Satan is also a synonym for just the forces of nature. Satan is why one species of plant replaces another. Satan is why the lion hunts the gazelle. Satan is why things evolve, and so I also see it as just I see Satan in nature, and I think that's sort of one of the sources of feeling like there's a tad of magic in the universe. So that's how I see it.
I got to tell you, this is our 19th episode, and that's got to be the 15th, maybe even the 16th best answer that we've heard. That was amazing.
14 people beat me?
No, the 16th best. What I mean is, if
Wait a
19...
minute, that means you're not the second best, third best.
No, you're third or fourth from the top. That's what I mean.
No, okay. All right.
Remember,
Yeah.
he reads his books upside down.
Yeah.
So you need to go back and find all those episodes where you thought people gave better answers than me and just erase that shit.
I can't I can't do that to Peter and Peggy. There's no way. Oh, that's awesome.
Alrighty, well, we're going to have to say thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
It's been great. I mean, can't thank you enough for all that you do, and we want to thank you for coming on and spending your time with us.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. I wish you much luck with the podcast, and hopefully all the listeners find it helpful, interesting, or at least amusing.
Absolutely, I'm sure they will. All right, until next time, hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Inferno Link magazine is a quarterly magazine focused on publishing extremely dark and sexually charged fiction and poetry. In addition to our violently erotic fictional offerings, we have interviews and a regular music column written by Dave, the Dave Lipscomb, that explore and expose the reader to artists and acts of a diabolically sinful nature. This magazine is not for the faint of heart or prudish.
The current and all back issues of Infernal Ink magazine may be found through Amazon Kindle or in print or PDF to Lulu.com. For more information about Infernal Ink, as well as Hydra M Star and Dave Lipscomb's other publications, can be found through HydraMStar.com, Facebook.com, Infernal Ink magazine, or the Babel's Gallery on Facebook.
Sir, I believe I found something.
What is it?
Not sure, sir.
All right. Bring it up on the monitor. Computer, analyze.
Initializing analyzation. I mean, initializing analyzation. Those are two completely different things. Analyzation complete.
What is the age of the artifact?
It appears to be approximately 6,666 years old, precisely.
Approximately precisely, huh? What is its composition?
It appears to be made of two precious metals found only on the carbon-based planet named Terra 6 in System 6 of Galaxy 6, formerly known as Earth. The first is sterling silver, and the other is 14-karat gold.
Is there any record of a previous entry?
Affirmative. Record number 66 shows a similar artifact with a perfect match known as the Anton LaVey Sigil Pendant.
What is its origin?
The origin is a place called I Satan.
From a place.
So sorry, you grammar Nazi. The origin is from a place called I Satanist, a company that produces the finest quality satanic jewelry in the known universe.
Computer, don't you mean produced?
Negative. I Satanist still exists to this day, sir.
How is that even possible?
Wow, you ask a lot of questions. Before the destruction of Terra 6, I Satanist has expanded to all other Terra planets in order to survive. It is known that self-preservation is the highest law.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that. Take us to the nearest I Satanist immediately.
Plotting course now.
All right, well, that's going to do it for another episode, John. That was a great show.
Yes, it was. What do you think, Chris? Did you like that interview with Robert Merciless?
It was great, especially the part where he was talking about how he was with that chicken. It's nuts. And what he did to the chicken and what the chicken did back to him is what really got me. It was an amazing story. I didn't know he could do that with chickens.
Were we listening to the same interview?
Yeah, I remember in the beginning he was talking about the chickens and what he was doing to them and what they were doing to him, and it was wild.
Holy shit.
It was an interesting interview. It was weird how he loves red cello. It's weird. A man of his stature would be so obsessed with being naked and eating jello.
I didn't hear him say that, but okay.
He was telling me he was hot and hungry all at the same time. I understand. It's the problems.
I think Chris is hearing different voices.
Were you listening to the episode, the interview, or were you like reading a script, or what happened?
Robert Merciless, it was a great show with him. His fascination with weird shaped fruit is amazing to me. He's a big fan of the spiny squash, as he put it. It's weird.
I don't remember him saying that, but
It's not quite the same as your fascination with pineapple, but
No, that's a different taste altogether. The spiny squash is weird what he does with it and how he prepares it for himself.
all right, that's gonna do it.
all right, awesome. Until next time, everyone. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.